You are looking live
Hello.
in the basement.
Sorry we're late.
It's T's fault.
I feel like I say that every night.
Corner. It's the Dick Van Dyke Show. We good to go on some music there, partner?
All right, we're up. We get that
That's
out
really
of there.
delayed.
Yep. It's really delayed.
Wow.
66-60, O'Connell.
Final?
Leading to Matha. Under 30 seconds.
We're live. You're reporting this live right now,
30
Pete
seconds.
Sweaty. Come on, get into your cutting
I don't think
scores
is going to score 6 points
in and out of the breaks.
Gonzaga 64-60 over St. John's.
Is that going to be our final?
It's,
What was that last one?
Not quite. 64-60.
And where's Gonzaga, St. John's right now? Gonzaga's leading St. John's, or
Gonzaga is leading. 64 to both games. 64-60 right now.
Casey Morcell just hit a 3, I believe, to bring
66-60.
He had four threes in the fourth quarter and got fouled on a 3. He scored 14. I don't know if it was consecutive, but why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't
when
it
that
be?
guy heats up?
Incredible.
I like when he took off for the baseline dunk the other night against DeMatha. He got as high as you needed to get to dunk the ball, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I'm gonna go another foot and a half. It was like, what? And like it seemed like there was a guy kind of with either a hand on the ball or a hand on his shoulder. All right, let's go live here.
That's incredible athleticism to be able to jump and then jump midair again.
I thought you were talking about
It's like some Super Mario
our
shit.
podcasting athleticism.
You mean
Our
rising up?
Podcastticism.
The lack of athleticism for this podcast is tremendous. It is a snow day.
It's off the charts.
All right, here we
yourself.
go. Wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here it goes.
You didn't write this one. I can assure you of that.
Get a little bit of.
Oh, yeah, got to turn that up.
We'll get probably copyright infringed on that one.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe.
most
maybe.
likely.
Maybe. Here we
Turn
go.
it down then. Turn it down.
Welcome, everybody, back to Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. This is the WCAC Spectacular. He's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, nice to be back after taking a week off, but not necessarily off. We were just at
Hell no, it wasn't.
the best game in town, so it happened to be on a Tuesday, but it's nice to be back in the basement. It's warm down here. Happy snow day, gentlemen.
He's Tim Strachan.
That's right. That's right. Not only do the kids have off, but as a government employee, I just found out I also have a snow day tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. But it just makes this game, this show a little bit better, boys.
It's like a mini shutdown for you.
It is a mini shutdown.
Middle of the week,
For a
government
day.
shutdown.
Yes. After
He's-
already having the first day off.
Matt the Real Deal Seal, a.k.a. Pete Schwitty.
Nice to be back, boys.
We always
Yeah,
point
we
you
missed
out.
you, man.
We always point you out. If you ever listen, I assume you listen to every game we call because
Of course.
In
I'm
real
there,
time.
I'm there most of the time.
we see you working hard, and we make sure to let the world know that is, in fact, a man in the middle of working hard.
That's right. Perfecting the craft.
We should come up with like some sort of like game, like who spots Seal first gets some sort of prize.
Okay, you're in charge of spotting and prizes.
And
Yes.
prizes.
Yes.
Yes.
Prize Patrol. We got the Prize Patrol
Prize.
here. If
Take
you
care of
spot Real Deal, on the
right.
We
sidelines,
got to make Seal like an interactive part of the show.
Where's the real deal?
Where's the
Where
real
is
deal?
Real Deal? Oh, there he is,
There it
on the baseline.
It's going to be a baseline situation.
It's going to be a baseline situation.
Always.
I'm guessing. Well, listen, we are in between our set of 3 regular season games, which if you checked us out on First Amendment Sports on the YouTube channel, I'm sure you subscribed. If you didn't, please don't hesitate. It's free. You get notifications when we do this, when we go and broadcast games. It's a logo that looks like that. Free subscription. Help us out, please. I'm told I'm supposed to say smash the subscription button.
Because that's what the kids say, right?
I don't even know if that's what the kids say. I think that's just like the YouTube speak.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's. I think anyone.
YouTube has their own language.
Yeah, and we have to learn it if we're gonna
Wow.
make this whole basement thing work.
I've never been good at learning languages, but I'll do the best. I'll smash.
As you
I'll
were
smash
saying
that
earlier.
button.
Yeah.
You know,
Smash the button.
always.
We will be live on Sunday at American University, where the WCAC tournament will be in its semifinal stage.
That's so exciting.
4 games. Kevin, let's go through the 4 games that we have on Sunday, and let's talk. We'll seed it out because we're not fully certain yet. But let's seed out the girls' side first. Because we get 2 of those semis on Sunday.
The ladies will begin. The ball will be. Is it tossed or tipped?
Tossed.
The ball
For
is
tip.
You toss it.
one
Tip
shining
off.
moments.
It's
Got
always
it.
called a tip
1
off.
o'clock for the ladies.
Yep.
1 o'clock
Okay.
and 2:45. I think we're looking at, here's the deal. In the ladies' side of things, the 1 through 4 seeds are 48-0 versus the 5 through 10 seeds in the regular season. Now, we know here at First Amendment Sports better than anyone. That doesn't mean anything when it comes to playoff time. But it seems to me the regular season was fairly top-heavy, and you're looking at St. John's as a 1 seed, Ireton as a 4 seed, Paul the 6 as a 2 seed. McNamara as a 2 seed, and Paul the 6 as a 3 seed on the other side. Yep. That's what we have written down in very, very light pencil. Those are the top 4. They've been fantastic this season, all 4 programs. In fact, if you run it down, McNamara has 2 losses, both to St. John's. Paul the 6 has 4 losses, 2 to McNamara and 2 to St. John's, and Ireton has 6, 2 to Paul the 6, 2 to McNamara and 2 to St. John's. That trend could be broken here, right. but we're going to find out. That's a long, long day of basketball that we are very, very excited about. The ladies will start the ball tipped at 1 o'clock p.m., and I think that's what we're looking at in the
1 and 3, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock for the girls' games, right?
1 o'clock and 2:45 they have it listed. Depending on this crazy tiebreaker, I'm looking right here at Carroll, and if Good Counsel hangs in and beats Holy Cross tonight, they will both be 6-12. They've split with each other. They've played every other team in the conference evenly. I don't know how you break that down, so we'll figure that out for the 7 and 8 seed. But Holy Cross will be taking on one of those teams as the 7 seed. St. Mary's Riken will take on the other at the 8 seed in the 8-9 and 7-10 games. The winner of the 8-9 takes on the Cadets. You got Ireton and O'Connell trying to advance to our games from Gallaudet on Saturday to American University Sunday. McNamara's the 2 seed, and Paul the 6 taking on Seton in the quarters on Saturday. We'll see what happens for our Sunday events.
Paul the 6 should handle Seton, and that should set up a pretty good game between McNamara and Paul the 6. McNamara has to earn the right to get back that 3rd game against St. John's. And I don't want to put the jinx on St. John's. They should handle Ireton, but I think Paul the 6 McNamara game is probably the one that has a chance potentially of not going the way everyone thinks it will. St. John should be able to handle their 1-4. McNamara's going to have to handle kind of going into this championship not as the national, number 1 highest rated team in the nation. I mean, they got to.
Most of the time, you don't want to go in with that expectation. If you're the team that's not expected to win, or you're the team that's not the number 1, you can go in there and play so loose and free, and that's usually to your advantage, especially psychologically.
Well, history has also taught us that, especially in this conference, who cares about nationwide? When you play in the premier nation conference in the nation, we get it done right here within D.C. city limits at Gallaudet and American University on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it's all of it. This is what we got. All that's thrown out the window, like you guys said, but if we are going to move forward and speculate, that you would imagine St. John's McNamara is what everyone has written down. McNamara has beaten Paul the 6 twice this year, I believe by 6 and 7, both dogfights.
Yep.
And not moving forward to McNamara St. John's, talking about Paul the 6 McNamara and eventually the possibility of St. John's and McNamara. It is impossible. Not impossible. It is very, very difficult to beat a great team 3 times in one season.
Yeah.
We're going to get to see everyone's best shot.
So, and McNamara's going to have to do that against Paul the 6 also. I guess it was kind of one of my points. They're going to have to beat a good team, at least a good team, for a 3rd time. And based on what we know, from covering them in 2 huge games live on our network, we know that McNamara, for them, if they get off and running, they got off and running against Paul the 6 in one of those games. I think they had a huge lead in the first half. That's the kind of McNamara team that's impossible to beat, except if the other team is playing perfectly. And if they can do that against Paul the 6th, I mean, you guys played in tournaments where you played back-to-back days, and every team you play, once you get to a certain level of the postseason, every team you play is coming off a win. That's the glorious part of it. So everyone's hot, but you get that momentum for McNamara to get to where they want to be. I feel like they got to get that. They got to get it done against Paul the 6th, and that they have to find something there that they can apply to the St. John's game. I don't think McNamara can needs to be winning at the buzzer against Paul the 6th going into a game against AZ Fudd.
I hear you, but survive and advance at this level. I think they'll gladly take a 1-point win and then see what happens the next day.
Doesn't matter if it's 1 or 25, right?
I know what you're saying. You want to get the ladies ready to rock and roll for the third showdown, but Yeah, I mean,
From what I saw, it's not about finding something that isn't there. These teams know each other
Yeah, they
so
sure
well at this stage. It's just about which players are going to show up better that night. you know?
execution, effort, and
Coaching.
the big scene, coach. Yeah, but including the coaching staff
Sure.
being in front of the big lights, the First Amendment lights,
True,
just
man.
banging off that court that night.
Yeah, I think they're going to look at past games,
Yep.
and they're going to say, look, if you had sold out on that loose ball, or maybe taking one dribble there and taking a slightly better shot or one extra pass. I mean, it comes down to, I think, that kind of minutia with those two teams. If it ends up that way, and that's no offense to the other teams. In fact, it may be motivation for the other teams.
Absolutely.
Because I think at this stage of the game too, at this time of year, it's so mental. At the same time, maybe the top teams are feeling, oh, we're definitely going to be in the title, where the other teams can play fast and loose and not have to worry about any pressure whatsoever and go out there and play the best games that they can. Anything can happen.
Well, let's talk about the boys because it seemed like over the last week anything could happen. You could say some teams are just trending badly as they head into the tournament, also, but there's been a couple programs that have feasted on that ability. Maddie, you want to?
O'Connell has defeated DeMatha 66-63.
Ooh,
That's a huge win for O'Connell.
Close out the regular season.
How many? What's their streak been? Kevin?
Unreal. If they would have lost tonight, though, they've lost 5 of their last 6.
5 of the last 6.
They lost 5 of their last 6 conference games, and that would have been 6 out of 7. And that's a tough way to head into the tournament. O'Connell just put themselves into the 4-5 game with St. John's, as opposed to being in the 6-11 game versus the Heights and then having to take on Gonzaga.
So that moves McNamara to 6 against Gonzaga.
So O'Connell now gains the bye that
Yep.
McNamara was sitting there rooting for the Stags to get, maybe for an extra day of rest before you head over to before you head to Gallaudet. This is the first round, not the quarters, and that will be the 6-11 game. So McNamara will host the Heights for the right to go to Gallaudet to take on Gonzaga in the 3-6 or 3-11 game. In that same side of the bracket was predetermined that Ireton and St. Mary's Riken, the 7-10 seeds, would battle for the right to take on Paul VI in the quarterfinals at Gallaudet. And the quarterfinal game now, Gallaudet has been set. I don't know the exact tiebreaker, but I do know O'Connell and St. John's are the 4 and 5 in one way, shape, or form or the other. Those two teams will play in the quarters at Gallaudet on Saturday for the right to take on the winner of DeMatha, who still holds on to that 1 seed, even though they're both 18-2 with Paul VI. Same record, but two wins against them.
And no
Head-to-head.
no Earl Timberlake, no Jameer Moore. I always say
Young.
Jameer. I
Earl
always
played
say Jameer
tonight,
Moore.
but he did
That's
not
wrong.
play
it's Justin Moore.
the other night.
Did Earl play tonight?
Earl did play tonight.
Okay, I thought Earl wasn't playing tonight. Earl Timberlake did play
He
tonight.
did miss the last one.
Okay.
He's resting a calf injury, I believe. Gonzaga 68-63 over St. John's. That's a final as well. So
How about those two games? 66-63, 68-63. It's always coming down
Closing
to the end.
down the
It's been
regular
all
season.
weekend. And then Carroll
Strong.
takes on Gonzaga in the 8-9 for the right to go after DeMatha. So you're taking a peek at that, and of course people are going to write that DM in there. It's almost March Madness time. We're bracketologists.
As I was just saying, though, that's the kiss of death. But I think this loss to O'Connell maybe even helps DeMatha. Maybe it wakes him up a little bit. I think going into this tournament, being the number 1, having not played the best basketball for the last 2 weeks now, was going to be difficult for DeMatha. It was going to be hard for them because I think they would feel nervous about, are we going to screw up tonight? Are we going to screw up tonight? They screwed up tonight, and I think that's going to be in their favor going in.
Well, you're right, T. They've been teetering on the edge that the upset, the Gonzaga, well, we call it an upset, but the Gonzaga loss leading to the St. John's overtime game that we covered, followed up by a Carroll 2-point win and a McNamara 2-point win. They have not been burying or putting people away. And then to lose to O'Connell, who had lost 5 of their last 6. That's huge for O'Connell. But, a brand new season is going to start. And if we know anything about Mike Jones, he's going to have about 5 days here to take care of his business and make sure he gets them right.
He needs to get them right probably more mentally than anything else. It's not like he's going to come up with some new scheme or something that's going to really put them over the edge.
No, but a lot of these kids won the title last year.
But it's
He's gonna have to remind them how they
on
got
the
it
little
done.
things.
Yeah.
It's getting them to focus on the little. I don't know what it is. I honestly don't. After watching that DeMatha St. John's game last week, Mike came out and said we still didn't play well, and I couldn't figure out what he's talking about. And maybe it's because in part Young is not out there. But I'm not going to put this on Wallace. I think he's playing very good basketball. He might not be producing points like Young did or not, but I mean he's out there playing hard. I can't say he's a weak link in any way, shape, or form. There's just something that they're not getting done that they were getting done earlier in the season, and they got to find that groove again.
Well, like I said, I think every starter on the roster has got that ring from 2018. They know what it takes. Coach Jones absolutely knows what it takes. He's done it on every level, in a DeMatha jersey to being on the sidelines. They're still my favorite to take this thing down this weekend.
On paper, they should be.
My favorite by saying that's who I would, if someone said, Kevin Rickey, you have to pick this, right?
If you were setting the odds.
And that's the case.
Correct.
I think DeMatha is obviously still the team people are gunning for, but man,
this is wide
there's
open.
6 teams.
It's wide
I think
open.
there's 6 teams. I think there's 6 teams that have a legit crack at this thing.
In a one and done, winning you're in,
It's
losing
wide
you're out
open.
smore.
Yep.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I'm more pissed off that the
say that it's
JV conference
yeah, no, right?
tournament's not being
Let's just
played.
not say it's
Jeez.
because DeMatha has been faltering of late. I mean, these other teams are playing incredible basketball.
Oh yeah, no, they play ball too. You're
Yes.
right. No
No,
doubt
they're
about
playing
it. You can say that for
incredible
every
basketball.
team. Yeah, there's
Paul the Sixth had what, a 32-game regular season conference winning streak broken this year.
32 over a
In this
3-year
conference?
span.
Good
Over a
grief.
3-year span. That needs to have some more spotlight shown upon that, and we will discuss that over the weekend when you're listening to us call these
DiMaggio-esque.
games. It's ridiculous. 28 at home in a row in this conference. I mean, listen, that's a huge deal. What a testament to their program. But they went ahead and did that last year and didn't win at all. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. We don't know anything. If covering football this past fall showed us anything, the favorites, that's just a terrible word to use. That's just what's on paper for us to talk about. And you know what? We do enjoy sitting around and talking about it a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I haven't been an American in a couple years, so I'm excited to get back in that gym and talk. Basically, I want to see. I want the
actually
pomp
perfect for
and
an atmosphere for this
circumstance,
high school
the
tournament.
pageantry. I mean, the WCAC tournament. Yeah,
It's
gonna
perfect.
be
It's
amazing.
I think it's a great venue.
I like it.
It's just
but
big
I don't
enough.
love it.
It's not too big. I think you can fill it up. It looks completely packed. You know, it's just. I think it's a perfect venue. I really do.
No, for basketball wise, also, I'm taking in possibly the location,
Yeah,
the
getting there's
traffic,
tough.
the parking. You know, there's a lot of different variables when you get old and
Parking's
crotchety.
horrendous.
But I will say this: I will always have a fond spot in my heart for that because there was a #1 ranked team in the nation on a 40-game win streak, and hey T, I think you were on that team. And I think I was on the team that ended that 40-game win streak at American University.
See, this is how bad he's rubbing it in. I wasn't
No,
even actually
no,
on
no.
that team.
No. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You were a sophomore.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
I was there too.
Our freshman year, you
saw
guys
it.
were the
I saw
national
it
National
once or
champions.
twice.
He's
I was
just-
not, I was not
Is
there.
this where he talks about turning me around and everything too?
No, I don't. No, when you were saying how perfect American University was as a venue, I was just agreeing. You know, I was just saying. You know
got
what?
a lot
T?
of good memories there.
I tried to say I'm sorry about the parking and the location, but T is right. T is correct. Hey, and I should have said
And
this
the
first.
atmosphere in the gym.
We're gonna recreate that
I
moment.
met
on
my
Sunday.
wife on the basketball court at American
you
University
go.
at an ITZ shootout function working for Bob Wagner, and she was working for Patty Langworthy, and we were working our way through it to pay for the weekend of basketball to get a spotlight shown on us to try and get into college.
Right.
And I was like, so what's up? I just hit for 20 on court 3. How you playing? I got a stare and a stare back straight ahead. So it was all business at the scorekeeping table. I was feeling pretty good about things until I got the lockdown defender of a lifetime.
Yeah, well,
Hilarious.
Hey, man, that's what happened.
pressure D.
That's how it went down.
There's some serious pressure D. So we'll get there. We'll be starting things off at 1. We'll have the last game on Sunday night. I think is it 7?
1, 2:45, 4:30, and 6:15.
6:15
is what they're shooting for. That is on Sunday.
That's on Sunday, and then on Monday.
Championship Monday.
Championship Monday.
Girls
Well said.
first.
It's going to be nuts. Yes.
6 p.m.
The
tip,
ladies
6.
at 6. The gentlemen at 8.
I that's the right. Obviously, it's the right thing. I thought if there was a chance, if we were talking about 1 versus 2 in a different scenario for the girls, I would have argued that you should see them play in prime time.
I think
but
the girls would argue that.
I think they would too.
Hey, everyone can argue their position. I just want you to tell Earl Timberlake and
Justin Moore,
Terrence Williams and Casey
Terrence-
Morsell and, you know.
Trevor
hey,
Keels.
listen.
I understand.
Hey, but listen, it's all love and respect.
Yeah, of all
if you
of it.
check out these kids on Twitter, they are rooting for these girls. These girls are rooting for these guys. There is
And that-
Oh.
there's a brother and sisterhood
I just
that
love
we
the fact
adore.
that these girls legitimately have a
Oh, yeah.
argument to
Oh,
say
no
we
doubt.
should be the 8
No
o'clock
doubt.
game.
That's the beauty
No doubt.
of this is that
That's not
everybody's-
just like equality or anything like that. That's the product.
everybody supports one another. 'Cause when we were at McNamara St. John's last Sunday, I watched. I think it was Terrence Williams walked in, as did Caleb Williams, their football quarterback from Gonzaga. We're coming in to watch the St. John's McNamara girls play ball. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter after the fact. Everybody's shouting each other out from different schools, boys and girls, both wanted to come in to see that game.
Yeah, much love to the young members of this conference. That's awesome. It's always been that way. You know, at least
always.
as far as I know. In my estimation, you know, when I go and watch my
look at
sister's
this
St.
table
John's
here.
team. Yeah, exactly.
And it holds up over time.
Yeah, it does.
And these kids will have the same thing 20 years from
In
now.
fact, it gets better over
It really
time
does.
as the rivalries tend to soften a tad bit and
Yes.
age
Yeah.
takes over.
Well-
and the stories tend to change a tad bit, but we'll
Just
check
We all
that.
get better.
But we'll
Just a
check
bit.
that.
Everybody
A
gets
tad bit, but the cool thing about it is, for us, and we'll close out on this idea in that amongst all our friends and kind of from our era of going to high school in the WCAC, the McNamara-DeMatha game our freshman year on the Hill at St. John's, Cadillac left, McNamara wins 7-6. Both teams nationally ranked in the area. And we were all there. And in fact, we were talking to Kevin Gibbs the other night at St. John's. He was there. That game ties a lot of people together, and we haven't even like completely explored all the ties. I guarantee, so many people were like, "I was at that game."
I think there's a 30 for 30 in there.
It's gonna be a 30 for 30 about who was at that game. But the Gonzaga-DeMatha championship at Catholic, I think the cool thing about the WCAC is I think that's yet another moment in the WCAC where a lot of people, obviously people who were there, are going to be talking about it for the rest of their lives. But the cool thing about what we've tried to start getting done this year is that game will live forever. So many people had a moment about that game watching it from somewhere else. So we got to be part of that, and I think that's like super cool. I think for the rest of people's lives,
I mentioned the Cadillac
talking about
left
it.
to Coach Mack at the Hall of Fame dinner at McNamara, and he was like, "Oh my God!" He was amazed that I knew Cadillac left. Because he just said I hadn't heard it in a while. But you're right.
Well, hey, 28
Awesome
years.
moment.
28 years to the weekend of a title in a football conference. We did that game.
Yeah.
And can you imagine? There had to be a bunch of 8th graders in there that someday will say, I remember. It was freezing cold at Catholic University. Remember? They call it the catch, and that's what I'm a big fan of the throw.
The throw.
As well. And you know what I'm looking forward to seeing? The performances that go down this weekend. I remember getting a call from my sister, a St. John's alum coaching the Holy Child who just went to the game. She said, I just watched Mello Trimble walk into the facility with a Superman cape on. She wanted to know if I thought that was because we've known the kid and a little bit in the family, and that's not really his personality. He wasn't a bit. His teammates put it on him after the quarterfinals, and his 2-day performance there. I mean, he could have flown right over St. Anne's, over through Tenleytown, and right back over the river with that MVP trophy because he put on a clinic. And O'Connell won one of their very few titles in basketball on his shoulders. Are we going to have a Randolph Childress style, Mello Trimble style performance out of someone this weekend? There's many characters that are eligible to walk out of that gymnasium in the next week or so with stories that will last 28 to 56 years. And when they do podcasts with no microphones.
They just think it out into the podcast.
And it goes right into the Apple machine.
In the year
That'll be a terrible time, by the way. I mean, it's bad enough that everybody can podcast. That it's almost bad enough that everybody has a podcast.
If they take the gathering part out of it,
but if you just think out podcasts at any time, that's going to be a terrible, terrible time.
that would be counterproductive. The gathering,
very
the gathering
counterproductive.
is of the utmost importance.
I was trying to think of the basketball. We just had the All-Star game and the All-Star game weekend, and it was kind of like I always think about the All-Star game as some guy just randomly has a really awesome first quarter and realizes he has a chance at the MVP, and a bunch of other guys figure it out, and then it's just kind of like a race to see which of the 2 guys who are going for it can get the MVP. And when I think about stuff, when I think about Chris Likes, and I think about guys who just kind of put a team on their back for the WCAC tournament, with just figuring out, wait a second, I'm just going to be this guy. And no one expects my team to win, but we're going to win because I'm just going to be the best guy, the best player in the entire weekend. And I do think multiple teams have that guy. We saw one of them, Casey Morsell for St. John's. We saw him up close You walk into the gym with him on your team, you can win any day. Obviously, DeMath has
Extremely
plenty
impressed.
of those guys.
Extremely impressed with
Very
what
impressed.
that kid could do. I mean,
I love him.
wow.
I love his game,
Yep.
his attitude. And we said it, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but, I've watched a lot of Virginia basketball this year. It is the perfect scenario
Yeah,
for him
it's
to
perfect.
shine like the brightest star, which they don't do down there, but true hoop heads know. He can go down there, average 17 for UVA, which would be 27 anywhere else. I'm sorry. That's
Also,
how I
just
look at it.
be amazing at his defensive side, which is going to continue to get better.
He is a two-way guy. There's no doubt about it.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it all doesn't start on Sunday. It starts, look for some scores on Saturday. We'll try to tweet some stuff out.
Boys quarterfinals at Gallaudet. Girls quarterfinals at DeMatha
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
on Saturday.
And we'll see some winners show up the next day at American University. Like I said, we get things started somewhere between 12 and 1. We'll go live with a little bit of a pregame show before the first game, and then we'll just hit it running. You'll get the group of us. You got Kevin McCluton, Darren McCluton joining us, Carol Maloney. Who knows what Carol's up to?
Is there gonna be a Carol sighting?
I think she might actually be covering the Nets
She was sighted in another state today, actually.
in Florida.
She is in Florida.
Yeah, she might be in Florida. She
Yeah,
might be
congratulations joining the Masson crew.
Yes.
Yep.
Cheers to that. We're going to get insider information from
Maybe
Carol
she
all
get
season.
Bryce. Maybe she get Bryce to sign that name on that paper.
If he
She's got a
doesn't,
few leads on that story.
Yeah.
if Bryce doesn't sign soon with the team, I think there's a WCAC program has a chance at him. We're big time.
Bring
now.
him on.
Roving instructor.
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to sit the bench for one of these calls. You know what I mean? We ain't putting him on. That's a halftime interview scenario.
Mark Gibbs will not put him right in the lineup. I'll tell you that
No
much.
chance.
You gotta earn your way in.
No chance.
That's right.
Earn your
JV.
keep. Earn your keep on Military
right.
Road.
We will
baby.
find out who wins the JV title, and I would love the opportunity to see any of that. I was watching the JV St. John's DeMatha game, made me appreciate that game is worth your time. If you're going to watch any other game, you can easily watch that game and be happy with the time.
What's
you spent.
amazing, just by pure numbers, though, the talent we saw on that JV squad, there's maybe going to be 4 kids that actually make it onto
Step
the
up.
next varsity level, and have a chance. Those other guys, I mean, they got to find either say basketball's not my thing, which from what we saw was
What if they just want to have fun playing basketball with their buddies?
No. I'm just saying at the high school level, just a numbers thing. You can't,
Well, there's a lot of
can't
freshmen
carry
out there
20
now. A lot of freshmen on that
There's
JV
more freshmen
team.
playing.
So I
Well,
think
there's
it's a
more
little
freshmen
more
though also
than
playing
4.
on varsity.
Yeah.
There's guys coming in next year. I'm just saying by pure numbers, it was just amazing to me the talent at that level, and maybe only 4, there's going to be about 4 spots for both teams, combined.
Well, 80% of the country would not have witnessed that and thought that was a JV basketball game.
Correct.
There's no doubt about that.
The dunk line ahead of the game was also a sign as well. All right, listen, hang out with us on Sunday. Come back on Monday for 2 amazing championship games.
Come say hello.
Come say hello. If you're at American University, check us out. We're going to be hopefully courtside. We'll get our final spot location here, but before the week's out. And I'll keep
right?
that to a minimum.
Yeah, well, it
Please.
looks like people are going to be saying hello to
Yeah.
everyone but you
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Sorry, I'll be all right.
T can be our
He'll be
resident
germ-free.
conversationalist.
Yeah.
I like that.
Look for him on the
Yes, definitely come
sidelines.
by.
Matt, the real deal seal.
That's right. We'll be there.
The players need to watch out, really, more than anyone else. You don't want to run in.
I've almost gotten trampled a few
No.
times this year. Thanks for looking out, boys.
Who's getting trampled?
I've almost been trampled a few times.
Haven't
Oh,
been
I can't
dunked on
wait till that
ever.
happens.
Thank
I
goodness.
know that for a fact.
Thank goodness.
No dunks. Those
He's
young
Tim
St. John's
Strachan.
Bucks.
I can't wait, man. This is gonna be a fun weekend. This is why we do this. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there. Yes, definitely come up and say hi. It'd be great.
Check us out. He's Kevin Ricka.
It's going to be so exciting. We are so pumped, and I hope we do what we do and get out of the way of these kids who just put on show after show for us. They are the draw, and they never disappoint. So we're going to do our best not to as well.
That's right.
I appreciate you guys giving us a look, giving us a subscription, and hanging out with us on Tuesdays. We'll see you on Sunday. Until then, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. All right, we're still live, guys. You got that,
do
Matty?
anything.
Now, Matty, you got to
Don't do anything
There's a whole
silly.
process here.
See you guys.
Ken, you got to do
Cancel
it. I'm
us out.
getting
See you on the
nervous.
weekend.
Yeah, and then confirm it. Yeah.